why don't we start? Okay. Well, first of all, I want to welcome everybody and thank you for coming. This is going to be so exciting. We've got lots to do, so we're going to move fast. Just to show you what's on the agenda, and I can't do this very well because I don't know how to yet. But anyway, I've got to go this way. Tonight for the agenda, we're going to talk for a minute about the blue zones, and then we'll get into Okinawa specifically. And you see all those question marks? That's you. We want you to ask questions tonight in the chat box, just like Nan just did. Nan and Julie are commenting on their chat box. That lets us know what you want to know the answer from. And Sui and Maya are ready for us to interrupt them as they talk to be sure that your answers are forthcoming. So feel comfortable doing that. And our tech volunteers, that's Ken and Linda up here, are helping us. And I think Debbie's here. Yeah, Debbie's here too. So she's one of our volunteers as well. And that's helping us with the tech elements. We have other volunteers here, but those are the ones doing the tech part. Okay, so that's what our agenda is. And have we got everybody muted, Vicki?
Almost. I can mute a couple more, but most everybody's muted.
Okay. We just want you to be aware that we're going to close the room shortly because, you know, in the news you hear all about Zoom bombers. So we've got this strategy to make sure that doesn't happen. And if it does happen, we know what to do. So one of our strategies the city tech team suggested was to close the room after we get going good. But if you get out of this room, in other words, something happens and you get dropped, you can always go to Facebook Live and watch it because you won't be able to get back in if you leave it, okay? So let's get started. As you know, this is Chat and Chew, and many of you have been to meetings, so you know all about that. And want to be sure everybody understands that this is being videotaped because it's going live to to Facebook Live. It'll be saved and kept there on Facebook, our Facebook site from now on, and then it's being taped so that we can put it up on our YouTube page. So your attendance means that it's okay with you if your image is shown. Whenever we do our meetings, we always try to remember two things that Dr. McDougall reminds us. B12, when you change your diet to plant-based, is an important vitamin that we should actually take. And if you're over 50, the National Institute of Health suggests that anyway. And then if you're on medication, you need to check with your doctor because you may be taking too much medication once your body starts changing. So we're going to talk about blue zones first. And just in the chat box, can you do yes if you know about the blue zones already? You've learned some things about it. And we have a large number of people that did know a little bit about the blue zones.
It looks like a lot of people indeed know about the blue zones.
A lot of yes, and a few a little.
Okay, okay. Nat West is here today, and he knows a lot about it. He was doing sessions. So Nat, you keep me straight if I get some things wrong here. So the blue zones are places where people have lived a long, active, healthy life for many of them to the age of 100. And that was discussed in many of the new books by Dan Buettner. And one of the main ones that we're going to talk about tonight is Okinawa. And that was one of the very first ones identified. And that was identified from the Okinawa program. And Dr. Suzuki, who I learned about when I went to Okinawa, is the one who did that big study in the 70s. So the main blue zones are Loma Linda, California. We know that from Dr. Hans Deal, who came to visit us, and Kathy Jensen, who's done work with us on that. And then, of course, Okinawa, and then Sardinia, Italy, Nicoya, Costa Rica, and Icaria, Greece. And the first three, Loma Linda, Okinawa, and Sardinia, after they were studied, they identified some common elements that you would find in these three specifically blue zones: constant moderate activity, strong social support, plant-based diet, less smoking, and eating legumes. And so I'm going to ask, and I forgot to do this before we got started, so I'm going to get out of the PowerPoint because I think this is real important. We're going to stop the sharing and we're going to go to Sui, and let's put her in the spotlight, she and Maiya. Could you, each of you, take turns telling the group about yourself before we get going?
Okay, hi. Welcome, everybody. I'm Sui. I am Okinawan. I am a tour guide. That's how I met Cassie.
Hello, I'm Maiya. I'm from Nevada, actually, but I've been living here about 4.5 years now. Thank you for coming.
And Sui was our travel guide when we were in Okinawa, and she took us to see the centenarians, one in particular, and talked to us a lot about the things that were happening there. And if you go to Okinawa, I know the best guide ever. It's her. And when we set up this meeting, she said, "Oh, I'm doing Zoom with my music teacher." And that's Maiya. So she has come along to help us learn more too. So we're so glad you're here. Sui, can we talk a little bit about that blue zones thing again? Because I really would like to hear some of your perceptions about the blue zones. When we talk about strong social support, let's use the example of Okinawa. And thinking back to Okinawa when, before the war, World War II, what kinds of things did you see at that point? Not you, but you know from your mother and your grandmother, were examples of strong social support in Okinawa? Before the war and after the war, these older people, Dan Buettner says that the daily life nudges them into constant exercise. So can you give us some examples of how they exercise just because that's the way they live, or did exercise when they were, you know, in their mid part of their life?
Many decades ago, we did not have a really bus system. I mean, there is no train system, no monorail, and people had to depend on public transportation, which was not that much convenient. So a lot of people had to walk a lot of distances, and that was kind of exercise. And also, a lot of people had a garden or farms to grow vegetables. That was pretty common. So a lot of walking and planting vegetables and touching ground was really good exercise for Okinawan people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, and the diet earlier in your history was very plant-based, especially for those who are now the centenarians, I would suppose, when they were younger. So when they were younger, they were eating a strong plant-based diet. A diet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've got some foods to show us examples of the kind of foods.
Right. Yeah. This is only Okinawan's vegetables, which are not really available in other parts of Japan, mainland Japan. Let me show you the very Okinawan vegetable. Okay, this is first of all, can you see this? Can you see the color? This is potatoes, sweet potatoes.
Yes, yes.
Or almost like the same as yams in America.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's the famous Okinawa sweet potato.
Yeah, the purple one.
Purple, yes.
Yeah.
So this is a sweet potatoes we call purple sweet potatoes. And this is, can you see inside?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. And when I was there, when they cooked the sweet potatoes for us, they stayed purple. Because we have purple sweet potatoes, but they don't stay purple.
Well,
yeah, these stay very bright purple once they're cooked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the sweet potatoes.
And that one is when they were, your centenarians, when they were in there, like in 1950, that was 70% of their diet, evidently, based on what we've learned from records.
A lot of, sweet potatoes were eaten by Okinawan. 1950s, before Okinawan's reversion, we did not have a Japanese food yet. And we did not have that many supermarkets available. So a lot of people had grown vegetable by themselves, or they had to buy it from whatever vegetable available from the nearest small stores. And a lot of people ate a lot of Okinawan vegetables a lot.
Yeah.
And next one, this is also very famous Okinawan vegetable. This is called bitter melon, Goya. And now this is spread among Asian countries and mainland Japan. And this is a bitter little bit, but inside, can you see?
Yeah.
Inside the red things are seed.
Now, what part do you eat of that?
What part?
Yeah, do you eat the seeds or do you eat the pulp?
We don't eat the seed, except the seed, we eat everything.
Okay, even the skin?
Right, yes.
Okay.
Skin is the best part because skin has a lot of nutritions.
Okay.
This is a Goya. See, can you see the bumps?
It's pretty.
Yes. And okay, this is, did you bring the washing?
No, sorry.
Okay, this is Hechima. What do you say?
We call it sponge gourd.
Sponge gourd, yes.
And the name is really from once this fruit vegetable dries out, it's it's very brown and it's got a lot of fibers, and actually in different places is used as a sponge.
Mainland Japan, they use that sponge to wash their bodies.
Okay.
But here in Okinawa, we eat this instead of using as a washing bodies.
It's one of my favorites. It's delicious.
So mainland Japanese people think that Okinawan people are very strange because we eat wash their bodies. So inside is like this, like a cucumber.
Okay.
What's the name of it?
Hechima.
Can you say?
Okinawan, it's called nabera.
No, no.
We have a dialect.
Okay.
Hechima. Loofah.
Loofah.
Okay. I use loofah in the shower.
Loofah.
Yeah.
That one I didn't know.
Yeah, loofah. Yeah, you may be able to buy at a store in America.
Yes, in the bath department.
Right. Yeah, I think that was exported to America from Japan.
Okay.
Loofah. So, but of course we don't eat that loofah. We eat original of loofah.
When it's still green. And you know what, I want to just point out that Maya is putting in chat the name of it. So if you want to copy that down.
I'll start adding some stuff.
Okay, yeah, great. Yes. And now this is another Okinawan vegetable. Can you see?
Yes, that looks good. You've got so many colors.
Yeah, it is. Okinawan vegetables are a kind of a vivid color, and it has so much nutrition, minerals, and they said, authorities said that it's got so much nutrition. That's why the pharmaceutical companies use Okinawan vegetable to make medicine out of vegetables.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And inside, like a cucumber.
Okay. Now, how would you prepare that?
It's just cook with other ingredients. But this is kind of new things. When I was a little, I did not see this. It was not available. Just a new vegetable. Probably came from China. Okay.
One of our members is from Bach Tower. She's the program manager, Trisha. And she's, Trisha, can you just unmute yourself and tell them about what you grow at Bach Tower?
I was commenting that we grow the loofah, and I know people that harvest it when it's green and eat it. So I was just letting people know that we can grow that here. And
they grow everything at Bach Tower.
Oh, I see. Good. Yeah. And what about poi? Hawaiian poi, similar. Yeah, similar to Hawaiian poi. And so next vegetable, this is, can you see?
Yes. Huh.
This is just like a Hawaiian poi.
Oh, that's what Vicky was asking about when we were practicing the other day, isn't it?
I had poi when I was in Hawaii, and I have to say it didn't taste very good.
Well, this is actually tastes good, but anyway, this is good. But before cooked, when you cut it, if your skin touch it, it gives you itchy.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yes. So this is okay, and so last one.
Okay.
Can you see this leaf?
Yeah.
This is Fuchiba-Yomogi. Yomogi is called in English. Nandakke? Yomogi.
Wormwood leaf.
Wormwood.
Wormwood?
Yeah. Wormwood? もっと別の言葉がある。なんだっけ?
Mugwort. That sounds right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So this is.
And you cook that? Would you cook that like a fresh green, or eat it like a salad?
You can cook, or you can eat.
That's right.
Raw.
Sometimes just use like to put like on top of soups, like almost as like an edible garnish. or like you can buy tea.
Yeah, but mostly this is squeezed and make a juice
Oh,
because it's so bitter. You cannot just drink it as it is. So you may need to add some orange or apple juice and together, and you can drink. Otherwise, it's so bitter.
That's great. Linda thinks it looks a little bit like parsley. We would do parsley.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
good.
So that's the our vegetables.
Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just show a chart, if that's okay. Let's see. Vicki, how do I take them off Spotlight so we can, or can I screen share without that?
That's a good question.
Well, let me just try it and see if it'll work.
We're going to make you the spotlight video.
Okay. So I'm going to share, and then I'll put that PowerPoint up again, because I wanted you to see what the actual diet looks like, because it's kind of interesting when you think about the things that make a difference for these blue zones, you know, the plant-based diet. I'm going to come back to that one. Here's the chart that the military made this in the 50s. They collected data on what the Okinawans were eating. And you can see, you know, the majority of it is that, well, you had more, sweet, you have more than one kind of sweet potato, don't you?
Yeah, Okinawan sweet potato. This is called the purple sweet potato, and we have also satsumaimo from regular potatoes, regular sweet potatoes. And,
so if it's 70% sweet potatoes, then it might have been different kinds of sweet potatoes too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that would make sense. But look at the bottom here, only 1% dairy, 1% fish, 1% egg. So, and seaweed was 1% and some potatoes, but the majority of it was sweet potatoes, not rice. And that one is up to 12%. And some of the grains, and then of course the soy and legumes was 6% too. So, and then we saw some of those vegetables thanks to you, Sweet, that was the 4%. That was great. And I wanted to go back to this one. I thought this was really telling. In the book, The Okinawa Program, they talk about that back in the 3rd century, a section of the South China Sea is where Okinawa is located. The Chinese explorers used to talk about the land of happy immortals. So all the way back to the 3rd century, Okinawa has had long-lived people. I mean, they saw it even then. So that just amazes me that has been going on that long. Now I'm going to get out of that so I can stop sharing, because now you've got a PowerPoint to show us some things that you had too, Mia and Sweet. Can you do that for us? Can you show us some of the things you wanted to show in the PowerPoint? Yeah, good. Maybe you'll be better at sharing than I was.
Okay, there we are.
can you see it?
Yes,
Yes.
you can definitely see it.
This is a map of Japan. Okay, yeah. And this is Tokyo. You know, Tokyo is famous. Everybody know where the name Tokyo. Tokyo is the capital of Japan. And so from Tokyo, way south down, this is Okinawa.
Oh.
So Okinawa is the southernmost of Japan. And by airplane, takes about 2.5 hours from Tokyo, about 1,500 kilometers away from the main capital city. Okay, and next map. Okay, so can you see that map?
Yes, that's good. Sweet.
Okay, so this is the entire Okinawa prefecture. Entire Okinawa prefecture. This is called Okinawa prefecture. And this is a main island of Okinawa, main island. This is where we live. This is where we are. And this is the city of Naha. That is the capital of Okinawa prefecture. And we have other islands, altogether 160 small and big islands. And most of them are people cannot live. So 49, it is written, 49 of them are inhabited. And I will talk about later, but
this area is called Yaeyama Islands, and these are very famous for different things.
Yeah, and also tourism.
Yeah, it's a very big tourist spot and a very big diving spot and other things, but we'll talk about it again a little bit more later.
Okay, so this is a very old Okinawan woman. Can you notice?
We see her. Yeah, she's got something strange on her hands. Looks like.
Strange, right? Look at her hands. Both of her hands has tattoos, right? Which was the old customs. Of course, now it's disappeared. Nobody has that kind of tattoos anymore. But that tattoos, they had to have after for to show that they are married. So if any woman, they get married, they get tattooed. So just like a wedding ring, if woman has a wedding ring, you can tell, oh, she's married, right? So that was same as tattoo. So this photo, the mother is giving her daughter tattoo.
Interesting.
In Okinawa, they had only give tattoo to the hands, but northern part of Japan, Hokkaido, can you show the other previous? Northern part of Hokkaido, there is a native tribe called Ainu. They had a tattoo on their woman's face, like around the mouth, black tattoo, or some other marks. That was northern part of Japan. The Ainu people had to have a tattoo. Woman.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a very interesting photo. Anybody knows what they are?
You can put it in the chat box if you know.
Box.
I can't bring up the chat box so I can see it either. I'm not sure why.
For some reason, when you're screen sharing, you can't see it. I don't know why.
You have to open
Bottle brush.
No.
What's it?
But good guess.
grass was one guess. Sweet sea oats, Naomi says. Sugarcane, Lynn says.
There we go.
Yeah, that's
Ding
correct
dong.
answer. Yeah, sugarcane. They are sugarcane flowers. It's not the same kind of flowers you see, but this is flowers. They are the flowers. Yes. So this is a sugarcane. They are harvesting. It's that long and big.
Wow.
And then this is a black sugar.
So it's,
Yeah, it became a product. Yeah.
so like I mean, Japanese sweets are known for not being that sweet, but also traditionally speaking, when people were making desserts here or sweet things here, this is the sugar they were using, and it's very, very unprocessed. Like you can actually, people even now just eat it straight, and it's not that sweet. And it's known for its mineral content because, partially in part because of how close we are to the ocean. And so the minerals it's taking from the water in the soil and the minerals in the soil. But yeah, so even when people here are eating dessert, eating sweet things, you know, it's a very different set of ingredients.
Yeah, and I noticed on that chart from the 1950s, it was like 1% of the diet's calories were from something sweet like that. So doesn't sound like they ate much of it at all back then. Now it might be different now, but yeah.
Okay. And next one, maybe, Okay, this is Cassie standing in the field of purple potatoes farm. And this is in called village called the Yomitan village. Yomitan village is famous for purple potatoes. But the purple potatoes are now sold to big confectionery company to make a sweet potato tart. So that the good sweet potatoes, raw sweet potatoes are not really available at supermarket to buy.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh.
Well, because for farmers to sell their product, sweet potatoes, to a big corporation like confectionery company is more profitable. So that's what they do. Only available at supermarket is very small purple sweet potato like this. The big ones are sold to the companies.
Oh, okay. Huh. Well, I remember when we were in that field, there was the 94-year-old man, and he kept telling me to eat the leaves because you could eat the leaves. Do you do that?
Yeah, you could. You could.
But you can make tea out of them.
But it's leaves are kind of tough and not that soft or sweet, so not that much popular.
Yeah. Okay. What condiments do they put on the potatoes? Do they put anything on the potatoes when, of course, evidently these potatoes aren't available, but the potato you bought at the farmer's market, what do you just eat it plain when you?
Oh yeah, well, just a plain, yeah, because it's tasty. It's good taste. So you could just eat it as it is after boiled, or what else? We don't really cook this with other ingredients. We could just eat as it is.
Because it's so good.
Oh, yeah. Steamed and or cook. It tastes good.
Yeah.
Okay, this is great food. It's a lunch actually, served at a restaurant in Ogimi village where Cassie and I, well, they went, I took Cassie and her husband to this village, Ogimi village. This is the restaurant available in that Ogimi village. And Ogimi village is a well-known place for the elderlies, long-lived elderlies reside in the village. And so that's why we went to visit there. And the lunch we had this is all healthy food. They don't have any animal meat, only vegetable. And the vegetables are harvested at the farms which are owned by the restaurant owner. The restaurant owner is called Emi. Emi-san used to be a nutritionist before, and she now owns this restaurant.
Mm-hmm. And you told us about, when we were practicing, about the rice and what was in the rice there in the middle of the plate.
This is a brown rice. It's not a white rice.
Mm-hmm.
And they consider white rice is not that healthy. And the brown rice is more nutritious for us. And that brown rice was cooked with black beans, or there is called black rice. I think that black beans.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And let's see, in the little plate in front of the big plate, it's got the, is that green thing on the right? Is that one of the vegetables you brought to show us?
Right. Yeah. This is that vegetable I showed you.
The loofah.
Loofah, yeah, loofah.
Oh, that's the sponge one.
Sponge, yes, sponge bowl.
Okay.
And next one in the middle, this is, I think it's a pumpkin.
Uh-huh.
Right, and now we import lots of pumpkin from Mexico and New Zealand.
Oh, really?
A lot of pumpkins are, yes, we don't really grow pumpkins that many. And this one, now it's pointing the tofu. Yeah, this is a tofu.
Okay.
Tofu has a, soybeans, yeah, soybeans.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So of course, you've seen it in other Japanese or Asian restaurants, I'm sure. But Okinawa tofu is special. I'm not clear on the details of how it's made, but it's a little different from regular Japanese tofu.
It's more
and I
hard,
like it quite a bit better.
Good. And then that's seaweed in the back, isn't it? On the left side of the plate? Yeah, right there.
Here.
That's seaweed?
No, this is,
I'm not sure.
it looks like, green leaves, green vegetables, and mixed with carrots grinded.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I'm not. Yeah, it's a leaf vegetable. That I'm not sure exactly what it comes out to in English.
Okay.
But
yeah, this is a papaya. It's cooked with like a tuna, or sometimes with a little bit of pork. But this is a papaya. In Okinawa, it's very common for us to cook papaya with other ingredients instead of as a fruit.
Okay.
any other questions about what's on the plate?
Yeah, does anybody else want to know anything else on the plate?
What's in that soup?
This soup, usually we have a soup as a miso soup. Miso soup ingredients, it's not a fixed. You can add any kinds of ingredients as you wish to. Like this, like a tofu or white radish or seaweed.
I think there's mushroom in there.
Yeah, little small mushrooms inside, and looks like white radish.
Like the big white Japanese radish that we call like daikon.
Yeah. Aren't the fabrics that the picture's laid on pretty? Those are very.
Fabrics?
The fabric, I was just noticing. That one blue. That's very attractive.
Yeah.
So your next picture, is that one of Sumiko? Is that the next one? The next slide? Yes. That's what we went to see, Sumiko.
Right. Sumiko was almost 100 years old last year, right? So when we visited she was 99 years old, but she was still walking and riding a bicycle by herself. And she had a little small garden, a farm, and she grows her own vegetables. And so she was just like regular, just like us, walking, running, and riding bicycle, and doing house chores by herself without any people's help. So
I remember she told us that she got up every morning and did on the radio. What was it? What was she doing?
Radio calisthenics. They still play it every day on the radio, and like schools and like school children and school groups and community groups will do their exercises with the radio.
Just a little exercise before starting her day.
Yeah, and she told me she did two a day, do two programs. She didn't just do one.
Yeah, they definitely play it more than once, a few times a day. There are a few different ones that come up.
Now, I was just telling Sui before we started that I was looking at some YouTube videos, and I'll include this on the YouTube site. And they've got an interview of Sumiko on this video I found. So when you look at it YouTube, you'll be able to watch a video with her. This is from the video, I guess, from the village that we found that picture. So she's featured in that one. Okay, did you have another slide? I couldn't remember if there were any more.
After this, we're headed towards the music thing.
Yes.
If we have any questions about food or
anything that
activity or diet.
Do most people grow their own food?
Oh, no, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Most people buy food at a supermarket or store nearby, or we now have a big shopping mall all over in Okinawa. So a lot of people don't grow food by themselves nowadays.
There is a system of permanent farmers market sort of places that are set up by the Japanese Agriculture Association. And those, they do what you buy is labeled with the farmer's name and address. And so that's not seasonal or weekend only or anything. They look like regular supermarkets. They're always open. They're in a building. And there are many of those. So that's probably about the closest most of us get to having our own farm.
Yeah. Sui, you told us that things have been changing, though, for the centenarians and the diet of the people in Okinawa in the last few decades. You want to expand on that for us so we kind of understand what's happening?
Yeah. Well, see, the reason Okinawa is well known as a centenarian or longevity, because those people, elderly people, are still alive. But after they're gone, those people are 70, 80, they were born before or after, before World War II. Now they're pretty much gone now. And after people, they get older and they tend to live with their family members, children or their grandchildren. And those people, nowadays, modern food is available, right? And so that elderly people who live with their family members tend to eat modern food, which are not same food as before. A lot of food have preservative and sugar added or some kind of chemicals, which is not we call healthy food. So the big reason most people don't live long nowadays are based on what they are now eating. That's what the officials said.
Yeah,
So,
and it's amazing because if you go back to the 3rd century, y'all were known as the land of happy immortals. So the same genes have been coming all the way through to today in your population. And so nothing changed except the diet. So that really shows the power of the diet, doesn't it? Yeah.
So now Okinawan people's longevity has been dropped quite a bit. Before it was the first place for women, men, but now women are in a place of 7s, and the men dropped all the way to 36 in Japan.
Wow. Wow. That is a big drop, because they had the longest lived women in the world, but that's dropped even compared to the people in Japan, hasn't it?
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so now our obesity rate in Japan is getting really bad, and Okinawa is the worst.
Oh.
Because Okinawan people eat lots of meat, pork, and beef. Okinawa is the first place that McDonald's came. And so people.
Oh no.
We have a question in the chat room. Do the smaller islands still eat more like they ate in the old days, or have they gotten more modern also?
Probably a little bit. I mean, they are modernized, but yeah, they probably do eat a little closer to
because
what they traditionally ate than here on the mainland. Because we're in a pretty urban area here. But some of the islands are very, very remote.
And what about fish? I know they've talked about how even the centenarians ate some fish. Is there a lot of fish consumption? Just some? What's the fish consumption like?
Fish consumption. Well, I tell you what, Okinawa is not. Fish is not the. It's not a great place to eat fish because around the Okinawan Ocean, it's warm. And so the fishermen had to go all the way near the close to Indian Ocean to get the fish.
Okay.
And so that talking about fish, only fish available to eat are very limited here in Okinawa. But of course, a lot of people still eat the fish, but not that much compared to meat, like a pork and beef.
Like compared to Japan, Okinawa doesn't eat that much fish. Compared to America, we still eat a lot. But yeah, like your image of the rest of Japan, which is very, very fish heavy, is not quite as much here.
Yeah.
So you still do not eat a lot of meat then?
There's a lot of pork now.
Really?
There's the big one. Beef is expensive, but pork and then chicken. And we're famous for Spam.
You in Hawaii. When I went to Hawaii, Spam, they have every flavor of Spam you could want.
There's even a local brand of Spam called Tulip.
Tulip. Yeah, we have
it had its consequences.
Can you see?
Oh, okay. Thank you, sweet.
We import a lot of them from Denmark.
Oh, Denmark.
Denmark, yes.
All places. Okay, so I think it's time for some music now.
Oh,
so,
okay.
You want to set that up for us, Maya? You know, tell that special story you told us about the music and the history of the music, if you would.
So, I'm here. I came here not as a musician per se, but to make instruments, actually. And so, let me zap out of the screen share for just a second.
Perfect.
So this is kind of the main instrument in Okinawa music. And in terms of this talk, we'll call it about community and social interaction. But it's 3 strings, and
tell them about the skin that it's made with.
Adapted from China, and probably came over to Okinawa some like 14th century or so, and then made its way eventually to Japan to evolve into other instruments. It is, yes, it's an Okinawa banjo. It's what I call it at airports. But the body is python skin. And so historically, there was a lot of value in this because we don't have pythons here. So to get one of these instruments, it meant you had to get on a boat and sail to Southeast Asia and get your own python and bring back the skin for it. Now, a lot of the value comes from the wood, which is a local species of ebony, and is very, very rare at this point. We're talking, so it looks like this. It's very, like you can very clearly tell the difference. And even something where the heartwood is about this size is at least 100 years old.
Mm.
The older instruments, we're talking wood that was, 300, 400 years before it was cut. And so that just doesn't really exist anymore. And people are trying to grow new trees and new forests, but clearly it's a very long game. It's not something we're ever going to be able to see or to use ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to play a couple of songs for you. And one of the stories I wanted to lead off with, that I was told by an older man on one of those little outer islands, was that even in his lifetime, so we're talking a little bit after World War II, is that these songs, they have a lot of, they're very folk music. They're very community oriented. They have a lot of like call and response and trading verses. And these were sung in a place that was so quiet that you could sing them to each other from field to field or from like mountain to mountain. Because we're talking about a time before electricity and before cars, and that people still remember because it wasn't really that long ago. Even the people who grew up here shortly after the war still remember a time where there wasn't electricity here on the island, and cars were just coming in. So anyways.
And what you said, Maya, when you told us first was that one village would start the first verse of the song.
Yeah, you could do that. So you could, he was talking, you've got your guy out in his farm, and he starts singing the song, and then somebody from the next farm over is the one who answers for the next part of it. Which, like, I don't think we can really even imagine being in a place where that's possible.
Yeah, that's real social connection.
Yeah. But I'll come back to our slide share for just a second. And there's your python skin. About 3 or 4 meters that we are trying to use. And the first thing we've got for you is, we call it the potato song. I thought it was perfect for this particular group. But let us set up for just a second and we'll get going.
We know where you can get a bunch of pythons.
We're looking for, they're about 5 years old by the time we use them. So if you run into one in your garden that's, about 4 meters long, please send it our way.
Okay.
If I run into one in my garden, I'm going to have a heart attack and die anyway, so it's not going to matter.
These days we still get from mostly Vietnam or Thailand.
And who have you got with you today?
So I've got with me. Can you, if you can kind of see us all? There we go. This is Lucy Nagamine. She's from Peru, but has been here a long time. And
hello, I'm Lucy.
Very well known here, local musician and recording artist. And this is Nao Nishimata.
Hi.
Oh, sorry. Our guitarist. And we're very happy to play for you today.
Oh, well, thank you.
So, and I did my best to give you a rough translation of the lyrics to this song. So you can kind of see what we're singing about. But, yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Maiya, could you stop your screen share so we can see the three of you on the big screen?
Yes, sure. I can do that. I wanted to keep it up, the first one, for the lyrics.
Right, I saw that. But now everybody wants to see your smiling faces.
Yeah.
All right. Thus, I think.
Well, that was perfect. What better thing to sing about than potatoes?
There's nobody here that doesn't love potatoes.
We have several musicians with us today. Fred Jones is here. Hey, Fred. And Nat's a musician. So do we have any other musicians besides the two men? No, not me for sure. Yeah. So they came to hear your music.
Oh, well, thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, or I can chat about it later too. Yeah. So the other song we want to play is it's maybe the most popular local folk song that we've got, and very famous now throughout Japan.
We've lost a little bit of volume on you.
Sorry.
Can you turn your microphone up or get closer to it?
And while you're close, can you answer for us what language are you using?
So we're speaking, we're singing in not Japanese, but in the local Okinawan language or dialect historically.
Okay, great.
It's not commonly spoken in everyday conversation anymore. There's some holdover words and some holdover slang, but kind of like Native Hawaiian. It's becoming a lost language. So we still sing it, but don't speak it very much anymore.
Okay.
So yeah, this last song, it's from, we were talking about earlier, the Yaeyama Islands down south, and is, yeah, probably the most iconic folk song, local folk song that we've got.
Okay.
Asuro Yunta is what it's called.
Very good.
You know, that music is just, I mean, well, y'all make it great. I mean, you're professionals and you came today to present to us. We really appreciate that. And the music reminds me of iconic music I would hear in Japan area. That's just.
But doesn't it also kind of sound like songs we used to sing when we were in Campfire Girls and we'd go to camp and sit around the campfire and sing these songs? That's what it sounds like.
I mean, it's that style of song. And there's
very
good.
Do you guys perform locally? I know, Maiya, that you're actually a music teacher, but do some of you perform locally?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And it's very, maybe 10 years ago or so, there was kind of an Okinawa boom within Japan. And so here in Japan, sanshin and like sanshin groups and even like pop artists became very popular.
Okay. So we just don't know how to thank you enough. I mean, it was great to have Lucy and Melanie join us. And
absolutely.
Oh, it was just wonderful. Thank you. And Sweet, thank you so much for arranging all this. This has been really special. We appreciate this opportunity. Now I'm going to ask the volunteers before we close out, were there any other questions that might have come up in chat that we need to address while we still have them here?
They're asking about your instrument being like a banjo, but I think you did discuss the fact that it is similar to a banjo. Does your singing group have a name?
Your singing group.
Let me send in Lucy's website for you guys.
Oh, okay, cool.
Great.
Website.
So is it showing up in chat? Because I can't get my chat up right now. So
It's not there yet.
okay.
No,
Vicki, are you going to save the chat so we can?
Yeah, it saves automatically. Yeah.
All right, and we'll put that on the YouTube show more section.
Right.
Were there any other questions, Linda and Ken? Did you see any more?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I think we covered
it's
everything.
a Facebook page.
Thanks.
Picture. Lucy.
Vicki, what'd you say about Facebook?
It's a Facebook page. Lucy's website is actually a Facebook page.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
blog too, but sorry. I'll send Kathy and them some more links, and then yeah, when we put it up later on YouTube, maybe we can.
Okay.
Oh, great. That'll be really helpful. So before we close out, I just wanted to tell everybody to watch for the next newsletter because we have 3 things coming up in the next month. We've got a training on Zoom. So if you want to learn some of the ins and outs of Zoom, Lynn, who is here. Lynn, can you speak up for us just so they'll know who you are and you'll go on the screen?
Yep, hi, I'm Lynn, and I've been doing so much Zoom stuff since all this started. I've gotten really good at it. So I'm willing to help anyone who needs any help. I'll do private, whatever we need so that everyone knows how to use Zoom.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Lynn. And Vicki and I'll be there, and we'll be there with Samantha. And so we'll do it on live stream on YouTube, though, so that you can see what's happening. And then if you want to, you can go ahead and join the Zoom. That'll be on September the 11th. And then we have our next event is Dining with Dr. Guthrie. And that'll be September the 18th. And we'll be actually, Debbie, you're here. Tell them what you've got planned for Dining with Dr. Guthrie, the cook-along.
Kathy, I think Debbie stepped away just for a second.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, she's got a nice meal all planned where we'll make it with her while we're watching, and then we'll get to ask questions of Dr. Guthrie, who is the immediate past president of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and I really think you'll enjoy that one. And then after that, Debbie's got a series of classes she's doing for us called Body and Balance, and those will be Monday nights. There's 4 nights of those. That's Dr. Barnard's brand new book, Body and Balance, and it's fantastic. So look for the newsletter to see those kinds of things. Was there anything else that any volunteers in general or the tech volunteers that need to be said before we close out the meeting?
Kathy, I think Nat had a comment.
Oh, good. Nat?
In the chat box.
Cool.
About the banjo.
Nat, can you go ahead and just unmute yourself and tell us your comment?
There you are, Nat. We can't hear you yet. I think you're still muted.
Good. I think I found it.
Okay. Hey!
Yeah. I noticed that your banjo had a kind of a long, maybe 1.5 foot thing at the bottom.
Yeah, it is compared to the body. It's quite long.
Yes, the ones on the wall have a long.
So these are actually, it's a little different. It's played with a bow, like a violin.
I see.
It's a different
Sandy, if you can kind of see, this isn't really my instrument, but.
I see. So those on the wall are more with a bow.
Yeah. And this one, actually, the back is a coconut shell, if you can see that. Though some of them are just like traditional wood or just regular wood.
How many have you made of the other instrument?
In total, from start to finish, oh, maybe a dozen or so. And then we do a lot of repairs and stuff too. The snakeskin will eventually split. So depending on how tightly it's done, you know, it could be 2 years, it could be 10, but we do a lot of that. Like redoing the skin on here.
What's the white on the outside of it?
Oh, this?
No, the
decoration.
The decoration. How'd you do that?
This is just fabric, but we make some of these ourselves too. This is the seal for the old Okinawa kingdom, the Ryukyu kingdom, and so it's used a lot now as decoration on like traditional Okinawan things.
Is that embroidery or is that painted on there?
Like
this is embroidery.
It's like a satin stitch.
Oh. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And we have some that we hand embroider and stuff too. This is machine done, but.
So these instruments are back. The research I found, it was the 15th and 16th century.
So I believe like is about when they made it to Japan, the mainland, Japanese mainland. And so exactly when they came to Okinawa and exactly when it developed into what it is now is a little, isn't quite clear just because the records weren't kept as well here. But yeah, it made it to Japanese ports in, about the 15th century and eventually turned into what you might be a little more familiar with is like a longer Japanese shamisen with like the white body and the longer neck.
Okay.
Our banjo in the United States, we think, originated either in Africa or in the Caribbean.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool.
And there were African slaves that came back and forth to the Caribbean, you know. And we have either a 5-string banjo or a 4-string banjo now.
Yeah.
Interesting. The ones from Africa had about a 5-inch diameter, just like those ones on the wall. And when we brought it to the United States over time, it has expanded. We created it to be an 11-inch diameter now.
Yeah, now it's bigger than this too. This is what, 10 inches or 8 inches or so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of times I was using one. We play a lot with, if you can kind of see this, and these are made out of, well, this is wood, but wood are like water buffalo horn. And so this is like our pick or plectrum, kind of just like an extension of your own fingernail here.
Oh, yeah.
You could use one of those.
Yeah.
There's a little opening in there if you can kind of see.
That's cool.
Oh.
Could I ask if you are a Seventh-day Adventist?
I am not.
Okay. I just wondered about your journey there.
My mom grew up here, actually.
She
her dad was military, and her mom was Okinawan, so.
And didn't you say you had Filipino too?
Yeah, so my grandfather was Filipino, and he died before I met him, but there was quite a few connections between the Philippines and Okinawa, even now, but historically too. People going back and forth to work.
Is Sui there? Is she still there?
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us about your grandfather before we close out?
My grandfather, okay, yeah.
Lean in, we can't see your face.
Sorry, yeah. My grandfather, when he was young, before the World War II, he went to Philippines and worked. And I'm sorry, I don't know what kind of work he did, But anyway, when he came back to Okinawa, he brought so much money. He earned so much money in Philippines, and he put up a nice house here in Okinawa. And my mother said their house was the nicest house in that area.
How about that?
And so he started some other business with that money. He owned a public bathing bus.
Wow.
And also he possessed a huge land in Naha City where I live. And so I'm supposed to be a very rich family's but my father, because my mother, my grandfather who went to Philippines was my mother's side, okay? And see, that time in Japan, girl could not inherit the money.
Oh.
Her father. So she did not receive any money from her father, but she married to a very poor man. That's why I'm not rich anymore.
Well, he sure had an adventure though, if he brought back that much. And Maya, you said that your grandfather, he put something in it. What did he do with his clothes or something?
So it would be my great grandfather, but yeah, he did the same things. He went to the Philippines to work, and I don't know much about it, but I know he sent money home by he would sew it into his clothes and send home a package of clothes.
Yeah. I was hoping we have one member who is from Philippine heritage, and I was hoping Sue was here, but she didn't come tonight, so she'll have to catch your stories on YouTube or Facebook page. Okay, so I think it's time for us to close out. We went a little over, but hey, we just had to. We just had to.
You guys are so good together. You really are. You should go on the road. You should have your own TV show in Okinawa.
I'm sending a link for Nat here in case he wants. I know it's all in Japanese, but the shop page if you want to take a look.
Oh, great. That'll be great. Linda, you're going to close out our meeting for us tonight.
Okay, it's very brief. I just want to encourage anyone who would like to provide us with some feedback to do so in the chat box. And we would like to know what worked for us tonight and what we might want to do differently next time. If you could give us that feedback, we would appreciate it. We'll take it seriously and do the best we can. Okay. And that's all.
And Vicki, did you want to leave the room open for a little while if anybody wanted to stay
open for a few minutes if there's people that still want to add something to the chat? Sure.
Okay.
However long we need to and still have people hanging out.
Okay. Well, if you have any more questions for Mia and Sui, that would be a good way to do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Leaf-Fuchiba-Mugwort.